to another new video. Today I am back with another SQL interview question which is asked in a Accenture interview process. So let's start with the question. The question is, write a solution to find average selling price for each product, and they have given additional informations like average price should be rounded to a two decimal place. So they have given a two tables. First is a price table, second is a unit sold table. So they are asking, write a solutions to find a average selling price for each product. So let's see a first table. First table is a price. So in a price table, they have given a four column. One is a product ID, second is a start date, third is a end date, fourth is a price. So let's see. If you see a first record, first product ID is a one, start date and the end date they have given. So product ID 1 from a start date 17 to the end date of a February 28th, the price is a 15. Same as for a product ID 1 from a start date of 1st March to the 22nd March, the price is a 20. For the similar for the two product id 2, they have given from a start date to the end date price is the 15, from a 21st of Feb to the 31st of March price is the 13. So in a first table they have given, so price of a product id from a specific date to the specific date. In a second tables they have given unit sold. So in a unit sold table they have given a three columns: product id, purchase and a units. If you see product id 1, the purchase date is a 25 February and the unit sold is 100. For a purchase date of Feb 1 March, the unit sold is a 15. For a second product ID, for a 10th of Feb, unit sold is a 200, and a 2 for the product ID 2, from a 22nd of a March, unit sold are a 30. So let's check the question once again. Write a solutions to find average selling price for each product. So everyone know how we calculate the average. So average is nothing but sum of all price divided by the count of units, how many units sold. So first is, let's read the questions once again. Average selling price for each product. So we have two product id, first is a one product. So if you see that average selling price, so purchase product id 1, purchase date has given that 100 units sold. When 100 units sold, when the purchase date is between the start date and the end date. So for a product id 100 units sold when the price is 5 rupees. For a product id 1, if you see a 1st of March, that comes between the start date 1st of March to the 22 March, that time price was the 20 rupees. So product id 1 15 units sold when the price was 20. Similar, if you see for a product id 2, purchase date is a 10th of Feb. So if you see product id 2, from the 1st of Feb to the 20th of Feb, price was the 15. So when the purchase date is given 10, when price was 15 rupees, that time 200 products sold. When the price was 30 rupees, that time 30 products sold. Why? Because purchase date is comes between from a start date to the end date. So if you see for a product id 100 units sold when the price was 15. So we can say sum of is like when 100 products sold when price was 5. And second similar, if you see, don't take a sum. And second similar, if you see that 15 products sold when a price was 20 rupees, because purchase date is comes between the start date and an end date. So 15 products sold when a price was 20. And now we are going to do a average is nothing but the sum of price, sum of, we can say, selling price divide by units, how many units gone sold. So 100 plus 15. For the similar, for the product id 2, if you see, purchase date is 10th of Feb, that comes into this category from start date to the end date. When the price is the 15, that time 200, that time 200 products gonna sold. So 200 products sold for a 15 rupees. Plus, if you see, for a product, so a product id 2 for 20 seconds of a March, 13 products sold when the price was a 30, because that purchase date is a comes between start date and an end date. So 30 into 30, so that is divided by how many units gone sold for a product id 2. Product id is 2, how many units sold? 200 plus 30, 200 plus 30. So let's learn with SQL query how we are going to achieve this output. Like the achieve this output, like this is the output we need to find, like is equal to whatever answers we will get, that answers we are going to solve using a SQL query. So let's start with the example. First we are going to select product id. We are going to select product id from prices tables, and we are giving alias name as a p. So p dot price tables, and we are going to use left join with unit sold. Unit sold is a u on basis of, if you see in a both tables, there is a primary and foreign key relationship has given, like the product id is a common in a both table. So on a basis of a product id, we are joining two tables. So product id is equal to u dot product id. So we got the product id, but what we need to find the average selling price for each product. So we are going to use average selling price, we are going to use group by clause, because there are, we need to do a group by clause, because product id in the basis of product id, if you see, basis of product id, because there are the multiple product id, multiples means single product, multiple entries are present. So if you know that the average is nothing but the sum of price, then the unit, we are going to use aggregate function, that is the sum, where sum is nothing but that p dot price into u dot units divide by sum of units, sum of, if you see, u dot, sorry sorry, sum of u dot units, and we are giving a name as average average price. But if you see in, there is a one conditions we need to write, because we that the purchase date, if you see a purchase date is between, if you see this purchase date is a comes between the start date and the end date, that we need to mention. So if, where, or you can, that also mentions in a and, or we can write the where clause your depends on your skill. So I am, that is mentioning into in a where clause where you dot, we can say purchase date between p dot start date and p dot end date. Why we are taking the purchase date between the p dot start date? Because as we have discussed, when the product, from the start date to the, when I have purchased the product of unit 100, product id 1 of unit 100, that purchase date is 25th of February. So when I purchase the 100 unit, that time the product price was 5 rupees. When I purchased that product id 115 product, that time the price, that time from a start date to the end date, that price was at 20 rupees. So that is the main reason I am using that purchase date between start date and end date. And if you are using any aggregate functions like the max, mean, average, sums, or the anything in a select clause, then you need to use where clause. So then you need to use group by. So group by what is product id is nothing but the p dot, because product id present in both tables. So let's run the query and find what we are getting. See, if you find that we are getting the product ID 1 and 2, we are done a grouping, and we are finding a average using sum divide by sum of unit using a average price. But if you see a question second line, that average price should be rounded to a two decimal prices. So that why we are getting the average price into a integers, because that price and units are integers in a table. So I want to convert that average price into a float. For that I am using 1.0, multiplying that sum of price and a unit, that integers, into a decimals value. So I will get the values in a decimal format. So now if you see a question that given that price should be rounded to a two decimal place, for a round you can use the round built-in function, but now I am going to use the cast function, that basically use for change the data type of any column. So cast as decimal from 10 to 2. Okay, that we are converting as a average price. Cast is a inbuilt function basically used to change the data types of any column, we can see. So I am running query once again. So I am getting that the value in a tilde two decimal format, that product id 1 is the average price is a 6.19, and a product id 2 average price is a 16.96. So if you have another solution for this problem, you can write down in a comment box so we can discuss. I will give a script of both the tables and the inserts values also in a descriptions, so you can practice in your SQL, that Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio. And if you have any doubts, you can pin down in a comments box. If you like this video, please share, subscribe. Thank you.